Hey everybody, welcome to News of the Day. Today is June 28th, 2020. That's the year. Okay, so we're going to start right away with the news of the day. We got a bunch of stories for you. And first item up for grabs. This day in 1964, Montreal acquires Ken Dryden, the legendary goalie. So they traded, I don't know if it's Guy or Guy, but I'm assuming by his last name it's Guy Allen and Paul Reed to Boston for Alex Campbell and a then 16-year-old Ken Dryden. It would be another 6.5 years before Dryden would make his debut, late in the 1970-71 season. The rest is history, is what I wrote there. He would end up playing the last 6 games of that season. He would win all 6. And go on to win the Stanley Cup with Montreal and the Conn Smythe Trophy. And he wasn't even an official rookie yet. So Ken Dryden, 1964, that's how Montreal gets him. Next up. If the season doesn't get completed, what happens with the #1 pick? And I got this question since the draft at least 10 times. So what happens if now the season they can't finish, they can't do phase 3, or they can't do phase 3 and 4, or can't do just phase 4? What do they do with that pick? Because now we know it's going to one of the teams that loses in the qualifying round. If there's no qualifying round, what happens? So I didn't know the answer to that, but I did find out. Apparently, the answer is this. If the season doesn't get completed, the 8 non-playoff teams, when the season was halted, would each have a 12.5% chance. So basically, before they restarted this with the return to play, the teams that were not in the playoffs, and that would be still Montreal, they would be in the running for it. So instead of the phase 2 being for the non-qualifying round teams, it would be for the 8 non-playoff teams other than the top 7 that didn't get. It's kind of complicated again, but that is what's going to happen. So the teams that were not going to be in the playoffs, that weren't sitting in playoff spots when they halted the season, those teams are going to fight for that #1 pick. So that's the answer as best as I can tell. The team, and city and fan base that are going to hate that is going to be Winnipeg, because apparently it was slot E that got the winning lottery, and that was Winnipeg's. Winnipeg was sitting there like Montreal was sitting in slot A, tentatively, I guess. I don't know how you put it. That was Winnipeg. So if you go back to that, it's kind of like Winnipeg won the first overall pick, but they're not going to necessarily get it unless they win it a second time, I guess. Next item. NHL holding firm so far on non-NHL players signed during the pause. So that's Alex Romanov, because I'm still getting that question. What's happening with Alex Romanov? The answer is going to probably be supposed to be officially on July 1st. Apparently 1 week to go, less than a week to go, and they're still holding firm that players like that will not be allowed to play. So right now it's looking like Alex Romanov still will not be allowed to play, which depends how you look at it, right? If you want the team to win a Stanley Cup, it's not good news. If you want them to have that chance at Alexis Lafreniere, it's kind of good news in that way. Next up, Stars defenseman Roman Pollock opts out. He feels it's too risky. So that's another question that I've been getting a lot of, and that's, well, I've been talking about Max Domi not being able to play, and everybody doing their predictions for the lineups, they all have Domi in the lineup. I don't get why. I mean, when I did mine, I had one with him in it, one with him out of it. So I don't get why he would be in the lineup. I don't get why he would play. It's a little bit risky, and if a guy like Pollock, who doesn't have an underlying condition, I didn't read that he did, if he thinks it's too risky and he's opting out, well, I can't see Domi saying, yeah, I'm going to play. Yeah, I'm going to play. Just it might only be 3 games and I could die, but I'm going to play. I don't see that happening, so there you go on that front. Let me see if I wrote anything special about it. Yeah, no, that's basically what I wrote about it. Okay, next up, good news for Montreal, and this is another question that everybody's had on their minds, and that's about Jesperi Kotkaniemi, KK. Well, KK, I think at the time that the story broke, he was on his way to Montreal. I would think he's here now in Montreal, because now it's Sunday. And also, I believe all the teams wanted their players back by Friday, so they could self-quarantine if they had to for that 14-day period and be ready for the July 10th proposed start of the Phase 3. So apparently he's in Montreal. I'm assuming he's in Montreal. Now, this story was broken by the Athletics' Arpin Basu, and he says he's been cleared to play, is fully recovered from the spleen injury that did not require surgery. There's another big question about the spleen. No, we didn't know. We didn't get a clear answer on whether he had surgery or he didn't. Apparently, he did not have surgery. What was required was rest. So he rested and he started training, and he's cleared to play, and he's looking really good. He's been working with a skating coach and a hockey coach in Finland. They're two really, what's the word I'm looking for? They're looked up to, they're admired. That's not the word, but well-respected coaches that help Finnish players. And sometimes, they have trouble making that leap to the NHL. They help them do that. And they were working with him. He looks bulked up already a little bit, and he's ready to go. So he should be in Montreal already. He may have to quarantine the 14 days, but either way, he'll be ready for that July 10th Phase 3 startup date. And there's a little news on that as well, and that's next. Elliot Friedman says he thinks Phase 3 startup date could be pushed back 3 to 5 days. So we're talking July 10th, so it'll be, he thinks it'll be July 13th, 14th, or 15th. And that's because there's a lot of stuff to do. There's a vote to happen. There's still some work to be done on the new, hopefully new CBA, which might be a 6-year. I was looking at a 6-year CBA, which would include the next 2 seasons, which were already in the existing one, but they're going to extend it by 4 years, is what's being reported right now. So yeah, there you go there. Now, if you're a Habs fan and you want Alexis Lafreniere, I guess you want Montreal to lose to Pittsburgh. I think they will anyway, but yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards I want that pick more than them to make a run at the Stanley Cup, because unless they win the Stanley Cup, it won't be worth it, right? If they don't win the Stanley Cup, but they make the playoffs, they lose out on that good pick. Okay, now, so the question is, why the Habs won't tank? I'm going to give you reasons why I think the Habs won't tank. Now, I think. I was reading this in an article. I kind of agree with the guy. Makes a lot of sense, and I'm going to give you the reasons here. No, I think it was Omar White on Fansided, but I could be wrong on the author of that. But it was on Fansided that the article was. So why the Habs won't tank in the qualifying round versus Pittsburgh? Players won't tank because it's the opportunity they play for and aren't concerned with the first pick. And this is really the truth. They play that sport to get the opportunity to get into the playoffs and then push for that Stanley Cup. When they get that opportunity, they're not really thinking about anything else. They're not thinking about draft picks for next season. The players are not tanking. The players are not going out there thinking, well, we need to get Alexis Lafreniere. We're not going to win tonight. That's not happening. Julian won't tank because his job might depend on winning. And he, too, isn't concerned about the 12.5% chance of getting first pick, really. If he was really comfortable in his job as coach, which he's not right now, obviously, it might be a different story. But he's not comfortable. His job is on the line. He doesn't know when they could pull the plug on it. He needs to win. The farther he goes, and if he can win a Stanley Cup, all the better for him. So for Julian, he's not tanking. Management probably wants to tank and get Lafreniere and help cement the future. So as far as management, they probably, I would think they're thinking this way. The team really isn't a Stanley Cup championship caliber team. If they win, it'd be a total fluke. You can't bank on that. So they're probably hoping that they don't beat Pittsburgh and they get the chance of that pick. Now, they can't publicly say that, obviously, but I would think that's where management would be looking at, because they are definitely thinking about the pick and all that. Now, Bergevin himself, not just as management, is probably torn between making the playoffs, so beating Pittsburgh, actually getting into the playoffs, and doing some damage in the playoffs, and maybe winning the cup, and at the same time, because he's the GM and he knows what the future needs, and yeah, he's going to want to get Lafreniere. So for the GM, for Bergevin himself, he's probably really torn. Kind of the way I feel is, yeah, I'd love to see them win a Stanley Cup, but they need to do that, or else I'd rather have the pick. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing I would think for him. And fans, like I just said, fans mostly want them to tank. Um, but also I wrote here, but we'll cheer them on all the way. As long as they're winning, they're going to cheer them on. But I would imagine us fans mostly want them to tank. But that's the reasons why they won't tank. They won't. The players won't tank. There's no reason for them to. They want this. They wanted this opportunity for. They all wanted every single year, and Montreal hasn't gotten it in a little while. And they want the opportunity to prove they're a better team than they showed in the previous the early part of the season, or the whole season up to now. And Oilers GM Ken Holland, I didn't put a T in wants. That's really cool. Wants a deep playoff run. That's a quote. Over the chance of getting the first pick. So, and apparently there's other GMs that are in this mix feel the same way. They'd rather go deep into the playoffs than take that chance on that first pick. Now, that's because they're not all in the same situation as Montreal. First of all, Alexis Lafreniere is from Quebec, so he's a local kid. The draft was supposed to be here in Montreal, got canceled because of COVID. Everything points to the reason why Montreal would really love to get that pick, as opposed to some of the teams that might not care as much and would like the chance of winning a cup. But look, honestly, as a fan, as whatever, do you really think that they're going to win a cup? Honestly, are they good enough? Yeah, the chance is there. Obviously, they could possibly do it. The possibility is always going to be there. Any team makes the playoffs could win the cup. But do you really think they have the team to do that? No, I don't think so. And I think they're better off getting that pick if they can. And even if not, they get a 9th pick, and that's not bad. Because if they beat Pittsburgh, they don't get that 9th pick either. They get a 16th pick. It's not as good. Okay, so there you go. There's my news of the day. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. That's down there. And while you're down there, there's a comment section down there. Let me know what you think about any of these stories, about my opinions on the stories, anything you want in the comment section down below there. And while you're down there, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and ring that notifications bell. And that's going to get you your daily fix of Blue Blanc Rouge right here, talking Habs. And if you're a subscriber that has been thinking about it, there's a membership button there, join, and check it out. As low as $1.99, you get memberships, get members only. That's it, members only videos and live streams, and more perks being added all the time. Coming up, there's some new perks I'm working on adding them. And yeah, so check that out down there. And thanks for watching, everybody. Really appreciate that. Please stay safe out there. Wear a mask when you're in crowded areas where you can't keep to yourself. And because I want you back here watching Talking Habs videos. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Peace out. I'll see you next video.